Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. I think everybody knew that Lane Kiffin would be active in the transfer portal, and quite frankly, it did not take him long to land his first commitment of this spring portal window. And running back Jacory Merritt, coming over from New Mexico, was previously committed to Arizona. I want to have two separate conversations. One, talk about Jacory Merritt, who I got a chance to watch a little bit late last night. Big fan of what he can bring to this Ole Miss offense, but I don't think Ole Miss will be done in the running back department during this transfer portal window. Want to talk about a few other options that this Ole Miss program has. And at the end of the day, if you are a running back in the transfer portal, you're looking at this Ole Miss program and saying, yeah, this is where I want to come and play my 2024 season. Really excited about Jacory Merritt. Want to talk a little bit about what he brings, talk about some other options. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys. Massive shout out to the Ole Miss fans. Y'all know I have a blast talking this Ole Miss program in the transfer portal. You guys continue to show a ton of love, a ton of support to the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. More importantly, would love to hear some of your opinions on where Ole Miss should be going in the running back position during this transfer portal window. I'm going to lay out a few options, give you guys some of my takes. Would love to hear from y'all in the comment section. And without further ado, let's get into this one now. Jacory Merritt, 1,000 yards at New Mexico. You dive a little bit deeper into the numbers, not only just in a 1,000-yard rusher. This is a guy that averaged 6.3 yards per carry, forced missed tackles, 64 of them, and 3.98 yards after contact. At 5'11", 205 pounds, you turn on the film of Jacory Merritt, he gives you a really nice blend of just being an all-around solid running back where you get him out in space on the perimeter. You can tell he's comfortable there, but at 205 pounds, he can bang bodies between the line of scrimmage as well. Thought he was really impressive in the Texas A&M game, even though that New Mexico offensive line had a very hard time dealing with that Texas A&M front seven. This is one of those running backs that I think fits really well in this Ole Miss offense where you look at Lane Kiffin, you look at how Ole Miss wants to run the football. They want to give you opportunities in space to make people miss. You take a look at Jacory Merritt, a guy that missed forced tackles, 64 of them in 2023 routinely. Makes the first tackler miss, and that is exactly what you're looking for in this Ole Miss offense. And again, the number that really stands out to me, 3.98 yards after contact. You see some running backs average about 4 yards per carry. Jacory Merritt is averaging that after contact every single carry. The New Mexico offensive line clearly did not do him any favors during that 2023 season. Jacory Merritt made a lot happen out of not a lot of production from that New Mexico offensive line. You take a look at Ole Miss's offensive line, partially the reason why we're so excited about this program in 2024. You think Jacory Merritt is going to have a lot more success in this Ole Miss offense. Last thing I want to note on Jacory Merritt, taking a look at some of the numbers last year, and I'll say I don't watch a ton of New Mexico football, but I knew Jacory Merritt was trending to Ole Miss, so I got in a few of his games. The last two games of the 2023 season, back-to-back 200-plus yard outings against Utah State and Fresno State, two teams that played in bowl games in 2023. So you feel kind of good about Jacory Merritt taking that jump from the group of five to the SEC level, especially in an Ole Miss offense that is going to put him in a lot better opportunities to be a productive running back outside of that New Mexico offense that, again, was not very impressive on the film. When good things were happening with that New Mexico offense, the football was normally in Jacory Merritt's hands. I like this get, and I think the question now is Ole Miss is probably going to take another running back. Now, the question is, what running back are they going to take? And I think the first one we got to talk about, and I'm not going to go too far into it because I know Ole Miss fans are familiar with him, and that's Henry Parish. Obviously, a lot of buzz, a lot of smoke. You guys see the crystal balls about Henry Parish coming back to Ole Miss. I think the question that Lane Kiffin needs to answer is, what kind of running back do you want? And I look at Henry Parish and say, I think Ulysses Bentley can kind of, Jacory Merritt as well, kind of fill in what Henry Parish kind of does in terms of what kind of style Henry Parish is as a running back. So although I really do like Henry Parish, I think a lot of Ole Miss fans would like to see him back in Oxford. I don't know if that's the kind of running back that I would be going out and getting after you land the commitment from Jacory Merritt. I'm going to offer you guys two other running backs that I think would be better fits in this Ole Miss offense. And the first one I want to talk about is Penny Boon, who probably is my favorite running back that's available in the transfer portal. He originally committed to Louisville, played in spring practice with this Louisville program. Reports out of Louisville is that Penny Boon was kind of the guy in that running back room, decides to hit the transfer portal again. And why I'm in on Penny Boon is you kind of see it on the screen. I think Ole Miss might be looking for a little bit more of a bruiser, physical running back that can kind of balance out what you get from Jacory Merritt and Ulysses Bentley. That's Penny Boon, right? 6'1", 230 pounds. They call him the baby bus, and they call him the baby bus for a reason. One of the most physical running backs in the country. You look at Ole Miss, what they have in the running back room. They have guys that can operate in space. Penny Boon's a guy that could probably operate really well between the tackles, those red zone situations, those short yardage situations. You take a look at Penny Boon and his numbers, a guy that averaged 7.2 yards per carry at Toledo in 2023, over 1,300 yards, the number that I have circled here, 4.26 yards after contact. This is a guy that not necessarily always makes people miss, but he's going to fall forward, right? He's going to turn a second and 7 into a second and 5, a 3rd and 2 into a first down. Those hidden yards in terms of falling forward and being that physical presence, that's kind of what I would be looking for if I'm Lane Kiffin in this Ole Miss offense. You got your guys in space. Now go get a running back who can kind of be that body blow kind of guy in this Ole Miss offense. We know they want to run with pace. They want to wear opposing defenses down. I don't know if there's a better running back in the transfer portal to kind of provide those body blows, that wearing down of defenses, better than Penny Boon. The other guy that I would take a look at, and I know Ole Miss is interested in, is Trent Howland coming from Indiana. Again, very similar body type, 6'3", 240. He is an absolute monster. Now, the production with Trent Howland is not as much there as it is with guys like Penny Boon and Jacory Merritt, but the frame, the body type, yeah, it's certainly there. So I do like Trent Howland, and I think the conversation you have to have is you probably get Trent Howland for a little bit cheaper. I think one of the reasons why Ole Miss let Quinshon Judkins go is, hey, we probably don't want to put all our resources into a running back when we feel good about other running backs that we probably can have on this roster for a little bit less. Penny Boon, from what it sounds like across the country, is one of, if not the most coveted running back in the country, and it's probably going to require a lot of recruiting resources. That's kind of how we'll put it. You could maybe get Trent Howland for a little bit cheaper. So although I do like Penny Boon more as a running back for Ole Miss, and if you can figure out to make the numbers work, I'm probably taking Penny Boon. Trent Howland is probably one of those physical running backs that's going to give you that presence, but probably for a little bit cheaper. And so I'm interested to see where Lane Kiffin decides to go with this next running back. Jacory Merritt, massive to get him locked in. I don't think Ole Miss is done in the running back department. We'll continue to see how the chips fall. If there's any other commitments, you guys know that we'll be keeping you updated. The Ole Miss fans, you guys continue to show a ton of love, ton of support. Cannot thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.